Hey folks, this is Mike Williams of US Gamer here to talk to you about EA and DICE's Star Wars Battlefront. Last week I actually flew to Stockholm, Sweden to play the game and DICE's studio, and everything I played is the same beta content that you guys will be playing in a couple of days. EA and DICE already announced 8 game modes for Battlefront, including the 40-player Walker Assault and Supremacy modes, the 20-player Blast Deathmatch and Drop Zone modes, missions, cargo, droid run, and finally Fighter Squadron. There's also 12 maps planned for the game, with another 2 maps coming in early December to tie in with The Force Awakens. For beta, what I played were 3 game modes spread across 3 maps. That's Survival Mission at Tatooine, Drop Zone on Sullust, and Walker Assault on Hoth. Survival Mission on Tatooine is a single-player or small co-op experience pitting the players against multiple waves of Imperials. This is pretty standard stuff. Each wave gets harder until you finish the final one. This mode didn't do much for me even when playing with another player in co-op mode. It feels more like a mode to try out new loadouts and weapons before taking them into the larger multiplayer Drop Zone or Walker Assault. Drop Zone is the mid-range mode available in beta, and this is probably my favorite of the bunch. It's straightforward PvP with a total of 16 players. You have to hold drop pods as they randomly fall around the map, and the pods only come one at a time, which actually focuses all the combat on the map into a single roaming area. Whoever controls the most drop pods wins. Drop Zone is big enough to feel like a real battle, but more focused than I felt Walker Assault was. I will say that Drop Zone really makes Star Wars Battlefront feel like a DICE shooter with Star Wars flavoring. It comes across as the best of the bunch. It's really more refined than anything else. If you're a classic Battlefront fan, this mode is probably not the one that will convert you to the new game. In contrast, Walker Assault is Battlefront's biggest mode and probably the closest conceptually to the older Battlefront, with a total of 40 players playing as either the Imperials or the Rebels. Both sides are looking to control 3 uplink stations in the region. The Rebels want to hold them because they allow them to call in B-Wing bomber strikes on the Imperial AT-ATs. The Imperials simply want their AT-ATs to stream into the Rebel base. Most of the combat in Walker Assault plays on foot, but there are also turrets you can climb inside, or alternatively, there are vehicle icons. On the Rebel side, there's A-Wings and X-Wings, and on the Imperial side, there's TIE Fighters, AT-STs, and even the AT-ATs themselves. When you walk up to icons, you'll take to the skies in that vehicle after a couple of seconds. It wasn't really the best experience for me, personally, because the vehicle controls on a mouse and keyboard felt rough as hell. Controlling the AT-AT was probably the most satisfying one, as it was a straightforward aim-and-shoot experience, and otherwise it's really the ground game for me. You'll also be able to play as the game's heroes in this mode, Return of the Jedi era Luke for the Rebels or Darth Vader for the Imperials. The heroes are available via icon like any other vehicle, though they retain different powers and are readily capable of turning the tide of battle on their own. Luke and Vader move oddly though. It's like they feel like robots or vehicles instead of living, breathing characters. It's something weird and stilted with the way that they're animated and the way their attacks come off. This feeling of oddness is backed up by the fact that when they lose, they simply kneel down and fade from existence. Honestly, what I played at Walker Assault felt far more tuned in favor of the Imperials. I never played a game where the Rebels even won. According to one of the game devs I spoke to, that's because new players are more focused on the battle than clearing the actual objectives. For the Rebels, the uplinks are key to putting the AT-ATs in vulnerable states, so that the rest of your fire can take them down. So if you ignore the uplinks, generally this is just going to be an automatic win for the Imperials, as the AT-ATs are just slowly moving, relentless forces of destruction. Loadouts in Battlefront are handled via a card system. Any player can hold a hand of 3 cards. 2 general use cards that refill over time after a single use, 1 Uber card that you need to pick up charge points in combat to use, and a 4th slot allowing you to use special one-time cards you'll find in each map. These one-time use cards include a group force field, a homing rocket launcher, or even an orbital strike. Cards and other weapons are unlocked via a tandem XP and currency system. As you level up in the game, you'll have more stuff available to purchase, and buying cards unlocks them for potential loadouts and decks. At least in the beta, that and picking your primary gun seems to be the extent of your customization. The guns don't seem to have any further customizable options in the form of scopes or barrels, and visual customization of avatar seems to be a thing in the real game, but is completely absent in the beta content I played. Really, what's on display here is a very good shooter with heavy Star Wars flavoring. For some players, this will be enough to get them on board, but for others, I can see the beta actually killing a bit of their hype. What I've played has me interested, at least. Drop Zone will probably be my go-to mode, while Walker Assault will come down purely to who you're playing with and how DICE tunes the game overall. Honestly though, I am intrigued to see where Battlefront heads in the future, as they add more modes and maps to the game. Check back tomorrow when I'll have a written interview with Battlefront's lead designer. And as always, if you want to know about games, you have to be reading US Gamer.